Welcome to Teach for the Bay. You're in the evening session, and we've got workshops tomorrow, and we even have some on Saturday morning. So this has been quite a endeavor. Those of us that have been proctoring have blurry eyes, but we're happy to say we have over 600. We had over 600 participants yesterday, and every day we're doing a tally. So we're very excited. Laurie, do you want to get started and I can let people in? And
Okay.
I will be putting an evaluation form in the chat if you can fill out your evaluation form closer to the end. And I also encourage you to um, enroll in any other workshops you're interested in. So I'm going to introduce Laurie Dotson, who's the department chair at West Valley Community College, and Jen Pender, Pender, who is
Pender. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, who's a coordinator at Santa Clara County Office of Ed, and together they are going to be your presenters for this afternoon workshop. So I'm going to mute myself, and Lori's going to take it away first. And I will be monitoring the chat. If you have some questions that come up, I can inform the presenters about your questions and introduce yourselves in the chat. Okay, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So, welcome everyone. I'm Laurie Dotson from West Valley College. I'm the chair of the Child Studies and Elementary Education Department. I want to give a shout out. I see one of my students, Rajitha. Happy to see you here. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, just a second. Okay, now everybody went away. Hold on, I don't want everybody to go away. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I kind of like to see people. Okay, so this is a two-parter. So the first part, I'm going to be talking about what it takes to become a special educator, maybe an assistant in the classroom, which we call a paraeducator, or maybe even a special education teacher. So I'm going to do that first, and I'm going to tell you about some programs that we have at West Valley, and then Jen is going to come on board, and she's going to tell you about some programs that they have at the County Office of Education. And our two colleges, our the county office and West Valley, we're always in partnerships doing fun things. So we can't wait to tell you about that. Okay, so here's our objectives for this workshop. We're going to describe how a career in special education can be quite rewarding. Let me tell you, I've been happy, very happy in life because of this career. We're going to discuss the college requirements for completing our Inclusion Teacher Assistant Certificate program that we have at West Valley College. And then we're also going to talk about a special education credential programs that the Santa Clara County Office of Education has. And like Kathleen said, if you want to ask any questions, please put them in the chat and Kathleen can just ask those questions for you. We can answer them at any time. Okay. Okay, well, I have to put this slide in here because this is why we're here for children. And I just love this slide. This is West Valley College. We have a really cool oak tree. And yeah, we used to let the children climb on it, but we can't do that anymore. But I just wanted to show you this. We're from the Child Studies and Elementary Education Department. I am here at West Valley. Okay, well, it's story time. So I want to talk about why I became a special educator because I think it's important for you to know the motivation and the rewards that can come with it. Okay. And I like my little special education kind of 60s little graphic there. I just think that's pretty fun. So story time. I was working two jobs at the same time. I was working as a special education teacher assistant. I was an early interventionist over at Atypical Infant Motivation. We called it AIM. And I was working with babies through 3-year-olds. And we had a center where the children came with their families, and we helped. We did what it's called. We intervened early because they had disabilities, and we helped them learn to walk and talk and feed themselves. And at the same time, I also worked at a local preschool with 3, 4, and 5-year-olds who didn't have disabilities. So I had a full-time job and a part-time job, and I kind of enjoyed that. But here's what happened. I met a child, and her name was Vanessa. She was tenacious. She was amazing. She was a child who had a disability. She had a facial anomaly and also hands and feet anomaly due to Apert syndrome. And she came at 18 months to our program and she couldn't even sit up at 18 months. Okay, you know that's pretty late. Okay, well, if she's not sitting up, she's not standing up, and she's not walking either, and she's 18 months old. Well, what I found out is that her family lived in a very small apartment, and there were a lot of people living there. So her mom wouldn't put her down on the floor because she was afraid, because there were so many people walking around. So she didn't get the gross motor skills that she needed. So she came at 18 months, and I personally worked with her. And what I did is I worked with her so that she could go through all the steps of learning how to walk. We taught her how to sit up. We taught her how to stand. We taught her how to cruise along furniture until she was able to walk. And it was really funny. One day she came in with her mom, and I got to tell you that she would not sit down in a chair for anything because she had learned to stand. And we were doing circle time, and I put a chair in front of her, tried to get her to sit down. She didn't say no, she just stood there. She would not sit down. I said, oh my goodness, this child is tenacious. Okay. Well, at the age of 3, which you might know, at the age of 3, they transitioned from the Early Start program into the school district. When I saw this tenacious Vanessa walk out of the program, I saw my career. I said, oh my goodness, look at the difference we made in that child's life. Look at the difference that we made in that family's life. She can walk. Then let alone we taught her other things. But that's the main thing is she left our program, walked, and I knew I wanted to be a special educator at that point. I approached Santa Clara University, and I went over to Santa Clara University and got my teaching credential. So I wanted to share that with you because it was so rewarding. I saw that the difference that we can make in young children's lives, a little bit different than when you're working in a preschool without children with disabilities. Okay. It was very rewarding to me, and I have not stopped since. Okay. Did you like my story? Maybe we can get some thumbs up, some little hearts. I don't know. We're not going to turn. Thanks. Thanks. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, there's some loves there. There we go. All right. So I am a credentialed special educator, and my credential is in early childhood special education. And that means that I can teach young children who have disabilities from birth to the age of 5. Okay. And I just told you one of the benefits of working with children is you get to teach them important skills, learning how to walk, learning how to talk, learning how to make friends. And not only that, you get to teach the families how to make a connection with their children, because sometimes it's a little bit difficult when they have a disability and the child might be using their eyes to connect and the family doesn't see it. But as soon as the family sees it, they just get very excited. Okay, I'm excited. Can you tell? So the very first bullet, it's extremely rewarding. Okay. You get children who didn't feed themselves and now they are. And we know that feeding is directly related to language development, and then they start talking. Okay. You can make a positive difference in the lives of children and in the lives of families. And, that's my goal in life. My goal in life is to make a positive difference. And now I do that through being a professor and through the students, and then they do it through the families and the children. But here's the great thing. If you choose to work at a school district, okay, so more than likely they will have programs for ages 3 and up for children who have disabilities. If you do that, you are going to get full paid benefits no matter if you are an assistant or a special education teacher. Okay, you're going to get medical, sick pay, vacation pay. All right, well, here's another thing that's really important. You get a great schedule when you become a credentialed teacher and or a special education assistant or paraeducator. Okay, you get your summers off. You get a week for winter break. You're going to get a week for Thanksgiving, and you're probably going to get a week in spring break also. Okay, who doesn't like that, right? Okay, that is a really great schedule. And I'm just going to share a funny little story. Is somebody asked me if I wanted, I became a special educator and I was working at the school district and somebody offered me another job. The first question out of my mouth was, do I have to work summers? I just thought that was so funny. Okay. Now, if you work for a school district with a lot of our special education jobs are there, you're going to be union supported and affiliated, and you're going to be getting raises. And not only that, you're going to be in a retirement system and get a pension. That was very important for me when when I went to school. I was single at the time and I didn't think I would ever get married. Now, lo and behold, I got married to a beautiful man. But I thought, I want to take care of myself. I want to have a pension. And that's why I became a credentialed teacher. Okay. All right, let's move on. All right, so you're probably asking yourself, well, what type of education do we need to work with children with disabilities? So we're going to talk about what it takes to be a teacher assistant or a paraeducator, and then what it takes to become a credentialed special education teacher. And you can see from this slide, what I did is I went to several school districts and I looked up what was their criteria for becoming a paraeducator and working with young children as an assistant in the classroom. Okay. So you do have to have a high school diploma or a GED equivalent. There are three other options in addition to that. You need to have 48 college semester units, okay? Or you need to already have a degree, an associate degree or other degree from a higher education learning center, okay? Or the ability to obtain a passing score on a paraprofessional exam. Okay, so school districts actually have an exam which you can take if you don't have 48 semester units or if you don't have a degree. Okay, as long as you know about children, you probably do pretty well on that examination. Okay, so but of course we want you to come and get the education. What we know is historically paraeducators, if they don't have the education and they go right into the classroom, they get a little overwhelmed and they burn out extremely quickly. And we don't want that to happen to you. So it has been my mission to make sure that I create a certificate so that you get the education before you get into that classroom. Okay, because we want you to stay in the field. And oh my goodness, maybe wouldn't it be great if after you've done being a teacher assistant, you go on to be a credentialed special educator? So to become a special education teacher, so that requires a bachelor's degree. And I got to say, it's not necessarily in a child-related field because we do have people that move from engineering or technology and suddenly have a passion for children with disabilities. And you can actually get into a teaching credential program, even if your BA is in a different related field. But you have to have a bachelor's degree, which is 4 years at the university. Okay. After you have your bachelor's degree, the next step is to enter a special education teaching credential like the one that Jen is going to talk to us about in a little while. Okay. So after you do your BA, you're going to need another year or two, depending on how fast you go, to get your actual teaching credential. So like I said, in order to help that statistic out that we don't want teacher assistants to leave the field and never come back, I created the Inclusion Teacher Assistant Certificate of Achievement. It's my passion. When I was hired at West Valley, even before I was hired, when I was sitting on my interview panel, I said, I need to do this. And it's extremely important to me. And I just let them know that I need to do this. And if you guys are on board with that, hey, that's great. If not, it's okay. I'll find somebody else that is interested. Now, fortunately, they were interested and we've created this. Okay. So what's nice about this certificate is it integrates best practices from early intervention. Okay, that is birth through age 3, early childhood education, and special education. Okay, so it's from all three fields coming together. We're going to prepare students for future work in all different programs, like the one I described, which was an early intervention program. Preschools, you could work in a general education classroom that has children with disabilities. You could also work in special education classrooms. You can also work in inclusive classrooms. Okay, and we are starting to have more, and the county is also opening up a model inclusion classroom. And by the way, they're looking for teachers. I'm just saying. Okay. All right. And in addition to that, all these classes will meet the California Child Development Assistant Permit also. So let's get into it. Let's see, what classes am I talking about? Okay. So our program requires 21 units, and this is really well thought out. Okay. We're going to do child growth and development because you need to know development across the board. Okay. From birth to age 18. The next one is Introduction to Children with Special Needs, and each one of these is a 3-unit class. In that class, you're going to learn the difference between the disabilities. What's the difference between autism and ADHD? You're going to learn the characteristics of that. You're going to learn the laws and what can you and can you not do with children with disabilities, as far as like the Americans Education ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, and our law IDEA. Now, the next class is Curriculum and Strategies for Children with Special Needs. So it's highly recommended that you do the introduction class first, and then you do the curriculum and strategies, because that class is, okay, I know about disabilities, but on Monday morning, how can I do this art activity when I have a child with autism, a child with Down syndrome, a child with a speech and language delay? How do I make adaptations within that individual activity to meet each child's need? That's what that class is about. Okay, well, the next class is Guidance and Strategies for Challenging Behaviors. Just to let you know, if you want to become a transitional kindergarten teacher, this class is also going to qualify you for that. Okay. Even children without disabilities are going to have challenging behaviors. Okay. Maybe with a disability, they might have a little bit more, especially if they have a delay in language, because they might not be able to say, hey, please get off my foot. They might turn and bite somebody. Okay, just like a 2-year-old would. All right. So that's a really great class. As a matter of fact, I'm currently teaching that class. The next class is EC, Early Childhood Language and Literacy curriculum. And we put that class in here because young children with disabilities frequently have language and speech delays, and you need to learn about different ways that they can communicate so that you can support them. So in that class, we talk about multi-language learners, children with special needs, and we talk about English learners also. Okay. For the last 2 classes, since working with children with disabilities requires a lot of work with the family, you need to take Child, Family, and Community, because that class is going to tell you all about the influences on a child's life in the family and in the community. And then the very last one is we have Infant Toddler Development and Care. And that is going to be for children birth to age 3. And especially if you want to become an early interventionist like myself, you're going to need that class. So you can see this is really well thought out. At least I think it is, because, you know. Okay, so I will be sending this PowerPoint to Tracy, and she's going to get this PowerPoint, Kathleen, to people, correct? Okay. Each one on this page, each one of these is a link. So if you want to learn more about our department, you can click right here. You want to look at our class schedule to see, hey, where are these classes and when are they? And by the way, we're going to be teaching the strategies and curriculum next in spring. Here's our actual certificate, and here is my email. Okay. All right. So Kathleen, I'm going to stop sharing. And how about if we entertain any questions? Do we have any questions, Kathleen?
No, not yet. We have people have identified where they're from, so I've welcomed them, and I also checked the chat, folks. I've also mentioned that a number of colleges in our area have similar classes to what Laurie mentioned.
And they have similar certificates too. They might call it something different. They might call it an early intervention certificate, inclusion certificate, disabilities certificate. So they do. Yes, I know that I believe Foothill has one, and possibly I know Mission has one. Can't remember who else. But I, yeah,
City has one. The
city has,
important thing is that there are jobs. It's probably the highest need teacher and teacher aide paraprofessional job demand in the San Francisco Bay region. I would say throughout California there are jobs if you're thinking of relocating. And especially after COVID, as Laurie can attest to, we had many delays in testing, and many kids were identified as having
mhm,
everything ranging from mental health needs to delays because of COVID. They didn't go to school.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
so we will be posting this on the website, and I think we can move to Jen.
Okay, now let before we do that, come on, guys. I know you have some questions. Come on, ask me some questions or tell me what you're thinking. Oh, from Gavelin. Okay, I see in the chat.
Yeah,
What's
hard time getting classes. Yeah.
okay? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I yes, I see what you're
Okay.
saying.
But so you're having a hard time getting classes. Okay. Now, yes, that is true. Sometimes the really specific classes about disabilities, they might get canceled. Now, we have brought several of our classes online. So
Mhm.
this semester, I'm teaching face-to-face Introduction to Children with Special Needs, but next semester, it's going to be online. So if you're at a different college, you can register for West Valley. You can take one of our online classes. And right now, also the guidance class is online. So you can take one of our classes and you can transfer it into your college, okay? Because
Yep,
it will be the same. If they offer it, it's going to be the same. Yeah.
yep. That's
So
that's a
that's,
really good strategy. There
mhm.
are a number of colleges that have these courses online. And in our region, if you can't get it at one college, I was a department chair and saw transcripts from 4 and 5 colleges that people
Yeah,
all put together.
Sacramento, everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, so don't give
Yes, the
up.
city does have a certificate, and they also have classes. And actually, Tracy Burt, who's coordinating this
Yes,
conference, usually teaches the sped class. So
yeah.
yes, thank you, Jasmine.
And I usually teach most of the classes about special needs, and then sometimes we also have Dion Claybaugh, previously from Pacific Oats, and
Hmm.
she teaches also. So we have a robust program at West Valley, but I know other colleges do too.
Right. I
Okay,
would say of the 28 colleges, at least 10 to 12 have special ed classes and or certificates. So just look around at your local classes, and um, uh,
mhm.
you, if you see a class and it interests you, you can always transfer your classes to the place that you want to graduate. And there's a question, what does CHST stand
Yes,
for?
thank you for that question. So our department is called Child Studies. So you can see the CH is for child, the ST is for studies. Okay. If you go to Mission College, they call it child development. Okay. What do you call it at your college, Kathleen?
It's CDev, but in some colleges it's ECE or EDU. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
but just look at the title and what the course content is. You'll see that many of them are the same, no matter what they call it.
Yeah. Most colleges are going to
Yeah.
have that Introduction to Children with Special Needs class. Okay. So I just want to do one more shout out before we move to Jen. Any other questions? I'm here. Let's ask questions right now. How can I help you? Okay, all right. Well, if you happen to have one, throw it in the chat. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. And Jen, you can let me know when you want me to move to the next slide.
Oh, you have my presentation up.
I'm getting it right up right now.
Sweet. Awesome. I had it all ready to go. I have 3 screens here, folks, so I'm losing my mouse all the time, so I love that. Awesome. Okay. Hi, everybody. So excited to be here. This is awesome, Laurie, and thank you for inviting me, you guys. So, I had a little different path than Laurie. I have a multiple subject credential. I've been in education about 25 years, just came off of being a principal for 11 and a half years. But I can tell you that the students I remember the most are the special needs kids. And there is something about them that you just connect with. And it's so rewarding. My daughter's 25. She's training to be a behavior management technician right now. So for those who don't know what that is, they will go in and work with special needs students on behavior, give them strategies, things like that. So she's super excited about that. And my boyfriend is a mod to severe teacher for high school. So funny that I wasn't a special ed teacher, but now I'm in charge of the program at the county office, and I am just surrounded by it, but I absolutely love it. Okay. So with the county, you can earn your credential, your special ed credential, but you can also clear it. Next slide, please. So we are called EPP, and that's Educator Preparation Programs. And we are a fully accredited credentialing program through the CTC. We are an alternative credentialing agency, meaning we're not a college, we're not a university. We cannot get you guys your any type of a degree, an associate degree, bachelor's degree, master's, doctorate. All we are here for is to help you guys get your credentials. Next slide, please. So in our credential program, we have 4 different credentials that we offer. We have early childhood special education. We have extensive support needs. That used to be mod to severe. Then we have mild to moderate support needs, which used to just be mild to moderate. And then we just started a brand new one, which is multiple subjects teaching credential. Next slide, please. We have 3 entry points into our program. You can enter in the fall, which is August to December. You can enter into the spring semester, which I'm pretty new to my position. I've only been here 6 months. So I really want to change that name to winter semester because it starts in January and it messes everybody up. But the winter semester is January to May. And then we do have a summer semester. It is definitely accelerated. So if you have a really hard, strong work ethic and hard work, fast learning doesn't scare you, that's the way to go. That's May to August. Next slide, please. By the way, I don't mind if any of you guys interrupt me, have a question, please do so. I have no problem. Okay, so as I mentioned, the credential needs has changed. So as now extensive support needs used to be mod to severe, as I mentioned. But this is what is so awesome about these new special ed credentials. I love it. If you notice, if you look at the extensive support needs column and the mild to moderate support needs column, you're literally learning about the same things, with the exception of deaf blind, which is in the ESN. So your credential is not so much about working with a child that has a specific disability. Your credential works for students based upon their level of need, how much support they need. So if you're in an extensive support needs classroom, you're going to have a lot more one-on-one paraeducators coming in. You're going to have a lot of occupational therapists come in and speech therapists come in and specialty areas like that. If you're a mild to moderate support needs teacher, then the students are a little more independent. You will probably have a para, maybe 1, possibly 2, if you're lucky. And then you might have behavior management technicians come in, like my daughter, or BCBAs, and sorry, we're throwing all these acronyms at you. They just basically study the behavior of a child and then come up with a plan. So mild to moderate is just a little more independent, extensive needs, a lot more one-on-one. And then there's the early childhood special education. You learn about all disabilities in both, and you're basically working with age 0 to 3 years old. Next slide, please.
Sorry, just got a question for you. So,
Yeah.
For the early childhood special education, because that is my actual credential.
I'm sorry, 0 to 5, my bad.
Great. Thank you.
Was
And then,
that it?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah, it's 0 to 5. And did the credential change and it does include kindergarten now? In the past, it did not.
Yes, it can include kindergarten.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
there was this is changing, but if you wanted to teach kindergarten, you had to take the RICA, which is a reading
Mhm.
assessment exam, and it's a big one. It's a big one. Um, but the RICA is going away, and all of our candidates need to pass what's called a literacy performance assessment, and that's taking place at the RICA. So, yes, it does
Okay.
involve 0 through kindergarten. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Sorry, Laurie. Thanks for that.
Okay, and I just want to add that the extensive support needs, a lot of that is working on a lot of functional skills. So
Mhm.
looking at, managing, making meals,
Life skills.
thank you, life skills, dressing themselves,
Yep.
uh, figuring out what the schedule is, whereas mild to moderate is going to be working on a little bit more academics and
Hmm.
not as much of the life skills and functional skills. So I think that's an important distinction to note. Okay, thank you.
That's awesome because as I mentioned, Jeff, my boyfriend is extensive support needs in high school. So they are always going on field trips. They're going to the mall, they're going, they're taking public transportation. So they're learning all of those things, because
Functional,
they're
yes, life skills.
functional. Yeah. Yeah. And his class is literally called life skills. So okay. Awesome. So to be admitted into our program, you have to fill out a letter of intent, just explaining why you want to be a special ed teacher. We like one letter of recommendation, preferably from a supervisor, somebody who's worked closely with you. As Laurie mentioned, you do also have to have a bachelor's or a 4-year degree. Pardon me. The verification of employment is not necessary for the first year. You can just do coursework for the first year, but the second year, to get your intern credential, you must be the teacher on record. So the verification of employment really mainly comes in for that year too. You have to pass the U.S. Constitution requirement, and you have to at least attempted the CSET or signed up for it. If you don't know what the CSET is, it's a subject matter competence exam, and it's it's very challenging. Don't want to scare you, but it is challenging. But the nice thing is a lot of degrees can waive that requirement. So that would fulfill the requirement of the CSET. So if you do get into our program, I will look at your transcripts and let you know if you need to take the CSET or not. Year 1 is 18 units. You have class 2 to 3 days a week. If you are going for early childhood special education credential, you do not need to take the CSET. That's one of the best things about that one. And by the end of that year, you must have a job as the teacher on record for that classroom. Year 2 is a little less classes. It's only 13 units. You take class 1 to 3 days a week. You have to take the RICA, but that's going away at the end of June. It's getting replaced by the LPA. Don't worry about that right now. We do help assign you a mentor. We also assign you a coach to work with you guys, and you have your coach is the specialist in the Cal TPA, which is the teacher performance assessment, which is what you would need to pass to get your credential. Once you finish year 2, you get your preliminary credential, and then you could come back to us for 2 years to clear it. I know it's a lot of info. Let's go to the next slide. So this is an example of a pathway. So you have the fall pathway, spring pathway, or summer pathway. So what I'm showing here is actually the fall pathway, because fall semester, year 1, is your first semester. So if you notice within the semester, there are 5 classes. We do not expect you to take all 5 of those at the same time. We break up the semesters into early and late. So you'd have early fall semester and late fall. So the classes will be split. So you would have 2 classes one semester, 3 classes another semester. All of our classes are at night. They usually start around 4:30 to around 8. We do have some classes on Saturday, but we always try to do those every other Saturday because we don't want to take all your free time and weekends away from you guys. And there's just a ton of support during this entire 2 years of you being with us. So again, year 1, you have a fall semester, spring semester, you have 2 classes in the summer, and then year 2, at the end of that spring semester, you graduate, you get your preliminary credential, and you are now good to teach in a classroom, and you have 5 years to clear that credential. Next slide, please. So this is just an example of the fall and or spring start. So the name of our program is preliminary. So you'd be getting your preliminary extensive support needs credential, for example. So the different credentials are ESN, MMSN, ECSE. To be eligible for your internship at the second year, you must have a valid CPR certificate. You have to complete the foundational coursework, which is the 4 courses listed there, 402 through 406. And we do make sure that you have opportunities to take those the first year. And then you have to complete that CSET requirement unless you're going for the early childhood special ed credential. The entry points are January or August. It's a 24-month program, and we just reduced our cost by $4,000. It was 20 grand. It's now $16,000. And the requirements are a letter of recommendation, verification of employment if you are working, a letter of intent, pass that US Constitution, have a bachelor's degree, and passed or attempted or even just signed up for the CSET. Next slide, please. I know this is a lot of info, guys. So here's the good news. If you are a classified employee anywhere within the county, I don't know if it's just specific for Santa Clara County, but Adria would know a lot better. But this grant pays you $4,000 per year if you qualify for the grant. This money can be used for anything: tuition, books, rent, food. It's anything you want. So you can get up to $8,000 for the 2 years. And this is if you qualify for other grants, you can use this on top of those. So this isn't a, one time and you can't go for anything else. So if you want information on these grants, then please contact Adria Colomer, and there is her email right there, and just say, I'm interested in the classified employee grant. Can you please give me more information? And she will help you out with that. Unfortunately, that's really kind of the only one we got going right now. We lost, California pulled a really big one, unfortunately. And so this is the only one we got going. Okay, next slide. Thanks, Laurie. So if you would like to apply for our program, go to eppscholar.sccoe.org. We are now accepting applications for spring 2025. And our website is very easy to navigate. You're going to see boxes. Just look for the teaching box. Click on the teaching box, and then from there, it's pretty easy to navigate for any of your any questions that you might have. But I believe the next slide is my contact information. Yep, I'm right there in the middle. So I'm Jen, G. Pender at sccoe.org. You can also contact New Vang. She's our advisor. She's been working in EPP a lot longer than I have, so she could probably answer a lot more questions. I will definitely find the answer for you if I don't know it. and get back to you. But please write down New Vang's email as well. Most people CC both of us. So both your question comes to both of us, and either New or I will definitely answer it. And then we have Mac Kegelmeyer, who is our director. And of course, you can always reach out to her. If you have any questions regarding the program, she's probably going to forward the email to myself or New. So we're excited to help you out. And I believe that's it. If we want to do the next slide, I think there you go. Any questions?
Can I add to that there are additional financial resources? Most districts have para to teacher classified employee supports. That is a very popular grant that's out of the CTC. And the CTC had actually announced at an earlier workshop that they're waiting to announce this later this week or next week, another grant opportunity. I do think they're going to be more teacher support grants. There's also a group looking at teacher residencies and apprenticeships taking the place of residency, so teachers can get paid for the entire pathway, no matter where they are. So lots of folks know there's a teacher shortage. They're working on financial supports.
Actually, Kathleen, sorry, Laurie, I'm going to cut in for a second.
Yeah, say what you're going to say, because I was going to say it.
Kathleen, I really appreciate you bringing up, residency and apprenticeships and stuff like that, because the EPP, Educational Preparation Programs at the county, we have all those pathways as well. I'm just not the expert in them. I'm in charge of the EPIC program. But if you guys go to the EPP Scholar website, then you're going to see all those different areas you could click on. And if you can't seem to find what you're looking for, just email me and say, hey, Jen, I'm interested in apprenticeships, and I will forward that email to the correct person, or I'm interested in residency. So, thank you for saying that, Kathleen.
Yeah, and that reminded me too. Okay, so West Valley and the EPP program at the County Office of Education, we are working together on possibly, it has not been approved, but I just got to say it. Okay, we are working on a special education apprenticeship, and we're trying to get it approved. It's not approved yet, so we can't give you any information about it, but we are in partnership and we're looking at that, and maybe soon we might be able to bring that to you.
Yeah. And that's important because apprentices are not only paid the whole time that they're learning, but they also don't pay for their college or their tuition. So apprentices have free education as well as paid work.
Nice.
That's why it's so attractive, and so many colleges are really working on this effort. So, so I've dropped the evaluation form in the chat, and the group is open for questions if we have any more. I don't see any in the chat, but
and you can always just unmute and ask a question too.
Yeah. People have had a long day, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I really hope that you consider special education. I gave you my example in the beginning. It is an extremely rewarding career when you see children meet the milestones, you see children going to work, maybe with a coach, and then they're able to be employed. It makes a huge difference in the child's life and in the family life. And it has kept me joyful and happy. Oh, we have a question, Monica.
Thanks for being here for us this evening. Like you said, it's been a long day and it's extremely hot. So my question is, I am a special education para in Gilroy Unified. I'm a one-to-one need support, and I just working with children on the spectrum is my passion. I have 2 children on the spectrum, and if it wasn't for teachers and paras helping them, probably wouldn't be where we are today. And I wanted to be able to give back to the community that helped us so much. So like I was saying earlier, I've signed up for classes at GAV, but unfortunately, they've been dropped because not enough people were signing up to be in these classes. And I just looked again, and again, they only have one class, which I've already taken. So I've taken a lot of child development classes to earn my certificate in early intervention. So my thing is, should I look elsewhere? Would it be beneficial for me to look at maybe West Valley and see if they have the classes that I need to finish up their certificate?
Yeah.
I already have one class that I took at Gatlin, which is children with special needs, young children with special needs class. And that so far is the only one I've been able to get. But I know I think 4 more that I need.
Yeah. So Monica, I'd love to help you with that. Maybe you and I could Zoom and we could meet and we could talk about that. And I would just love to help you with that. Now, we do have some of those classes are online. So I know it sounds like you live in Gilroy. Might be quite a trek to come to West Valley, but we do have some of those classes online. So I'm going to put my email into the chat. I'd be more than happy to talk with you about that. Could you please email me, Monica? We can look over your transcript, and I can do this for anyone. We can look over your transcript and see what you already have. What else do you need? And we could even look at, does that college actually offer it? And, can you transfer in some classes from a different college? So I'm going to put that in the chat for you, Monica. I'd love to help you out.
I appreciate that very much. And if I took the courses that I needed for the intervention, and I take the rest of them at West Valley because they're offered there, do I still get the certificate from one place or another?
So it depends. In order to get a certificate from a specific college, you have to take a percentage of your classes at that college. So for us, our West Valley, in order to get a certificate, the inclusion certificate for us, you have to do 4 units. So that's like a 3-unit class plus maybe one more, or maybe, one more. So so I don't know what the requirements are at other colleges. Kathleen, do you know what the requirement is at?
Yeah, it's usually you at least need a third. So it depends on the number of units in the certificate.
Yeah, so we can talk more about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so thinking like if I took 2 3-unit classes at West Valley, because you offer the courses that I needed, that would probably cover.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And I did screenshot your email, so I have that. Thank you so much, Laurie.
Wonderful. And we have a raised hand from Kelly. And before we get to Kelly, I'm going to just also say that after you meet with Laurie and look at the classes you need, this is a career technical ed field, so you absolutely need classes to support your work right now in your job, but also don't discount the need to transfer because we also need special ed teachers in addition to paras, and paras make great teachers, and parents who have familiarity with the system make great teachers. So you have many things going for you. Keep going. That's all I want to say. So Kelly, you have your hand raised?
Yes, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to all 3 of you for putting this on. I am a first semester student at City College, but I had previously gotten my degree in mechanical engineering, graduated 2013. So but I reignited my passion. I had taken a couple child development classes back then for, funsies, I guess. My passion was reignited because I have a 3-year-old who was recently diagnosed with autism level 2, going through a whole year of help with the regional center therapies, finally getting the diagnosis, finally going through the IEP process. He's in a preschool and thriving, has, pushed me to take some classes on child development, and City College happens to have Tracy Burt, who I haven't had a chance to take her classes yet, but I'm just kind of now dipping my toe and exploring like what are my options, what certificates. So I just wanted to clarify. I know Laurie mentioned, and also Jim mentioned, you need a bachelor's. Is it a bachelor's in anything? So that counts. Okay, cool. I'm seeing all three of your heads shake yes.
Yes, don't let that. Yes,
My
yes.
my bachelor's is in film and video.
Okay.
Like, who would have thunk it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long
Your
as you have a
BA could
4-year
be in
degree.
anything. Just get
Perfect.
that darn BA
Okay,
and
yes.
pick classes that help you with your work. But here we
Yes.
go. Being a parent is
Yep.
the amazing training ground to find out
Yes.
what kids need and how they thrive. So hats off to you.
100%. Thank
Yeah,
you so much. Yeah, I like Monica said, I think having a kid, who has extra support really motivates you to give back and hopefully help other parents and kids
Oh,
who need that extra support. So, like I said, I'm just dipping my toe into it and trying to figure out where I'm going to be led. But
okay.
thank you all for kind of giving some insight on it.
Hey, Kelly, I want to tell you, you have your bachelor's degree, so you are ready to
Okay.
start. You're ready to start a teaching credential.
Okay.
Okay, you don't even need to mess with us community college folk. I mean, you can, but you don't even need to do that. I recommend you reach out to Jen. There's
Okay.
also a program at San Jose State, a little bit different, but you can talk to San Jose State and you can talk to the
Okay.
County Office of Ed.
That's
Hey,
actually my
Kelly.
alma mater, so that's interesting. Yes, Jen.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to say is so we have the three special ed credentials, right, that I mentioned,
Mhm.
and the multiple subject we just started.
Mhm.
This is coming down the pike. A pre-K through 3 credential, a CTE credential, single subject math, single subject science, and a nursing.
Mm.
So granted, those programs they're still in the approval phase with the CTC,
Mhm.
but we're hoping to start some of them next fall.
Okay.
So keep an eye out for that.
I
Yeah.
will. I definitely will.
It's a
Cool.
great time to be looking at teaching. And,
Yes.
I hear your passion, Kelly. We also have to try to make the world a better place for kids who learn differently. And once you figure that out with your child or a group of children, you want to spread that because
100%.
You do. It's catchy. It's really catchy.
it's
Like
catchy.
that first
Yeah.
child, Vanessa, I knew I wanted to go in this career, and I
Yeah.
went back. Yeah, make the difference.
Yes.
And you know what,
100%.
Laurie, you were sharing stories earlier. I got a real quick one for you. Before I became an educator, I was actually a figure skating instructor. And the
Wow.
very, very first student I ever had was blind. And so I was down on my knees, had my hand on the skates, moving the skates where they all obviously had a hand on the wall.
Wow.
But that was awesome. And then yeah, I actually had a couple blind students. So it was cool.
Amazing. Yeah.
Being on ice, literally and figuratively. It was cool.
Okay. So, do we have
My
any?
kid just called me a dork.
Oh. Well, if you're a dork, I'm a dork, and we're all dorks, and we're just happy to have
Awesome. I love it.
All right. So I see that Kathleen in the chat has put an evaluation. If you could let us know how we did and how we can make this better, that would be really wonderful. We have just a few more minutes. We're here. Talk to us. Do you have anything else to say or any other questions?
I think that's a wrap.
I think it's a wrap. Okay, everyone. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you
And
for being here,
Kathleen.
everyone.
Thank you, participants, for being here.
Thank you,
Good
Jen.
night,
Thank you,
everybody.
Laurie.
Bye-bye.
Good night.